Hey guys, it's Carly bringing you episode number 4 of my entire VHS slash Blu-ray slash DVD horror movie collection. I kind of wanted to get that done. Sorry about my cat making noise, but kind of wanted to get that done in 2017, but I kind of got busy and also lazy, so I just didn't finish it. And I don't have that big of a collection, so I probably could have finished it, but it's all my fault. And also I thought I finally found like an actual camera. It was like my old camera, and it used to be really nice, and I was super excited because I thought I could actually film these in a normal, like, cooler way where I'm actually showing the collection on a shelf and you're not just looking at my face the whole time. But the camera is kind of old and worn out, and it always says like battery is exhausted and things like that, like every couple minutes, so it just wasn't working out. Hopefully one of my goals this year is to buy an actual camera whenever I'm not poor, and then I'll be able to make more quality videos, but for now we're just stuck with the webcam. But anyway, to get into this one, we're still on the DVDs, and here we go. This is the next stack, and first up we have Frontiers. I believe this is one of the French Extremes, and I remember this one being pretty brutal, very well done film, very well acted, pretty, brutal story behind it. I can't remember the story exactly, but I remember really, really enjoying this one and thinking it was very well made. Definitely like a depressing, like downer type of movie though, so it's not one I would watch a whole lot, but I really enjoyed this one. After that, we have Glass Trap. I think JP gave me this one last year for Christmas, actually, or, the last Christmas, whatever, but, it's really, really bad. It's like a killer ant movie, and they're like giant ants in this, like, building where people work, and they're trying to escape them. It's got very bad, like, special effects, like the ants look ridiculous, or some CGI that's laughable, and, the dialogue's just really cheesy. Like, I feel like the actors are actually kind of trying in this, so you can kind of give them that, but at the same time, like, the dialogue's not that good, and there's really not a lot good. I think I gave it like a 3 out of 10. It's got like C. Thomas Howell. I think this is like a, one of those sci-fi movies that they just put out and, they suck, but it's definitely like, if you're looking for something laughable and entertaining, it's worth that for the entertainment alone. Next up we have, this is open, Grabbers. This is like a monster creature type film, and I remember enjoying this one quite a bit. I don't remember it all that well. It's definitely one I would have to rewatch. It's got like a, kind of a ridiculous story behind it. It's like horror comedy basically, and yeah, it was pretty cool though, and I actually really enjoy this cover. I think it's pretty cool. This is an IFC Midnight release, and yeah, this is definitely one I would have to give another watch because I remember enjoying it. Once again, another like more entertaining, funny movie than anything. Next up, we have a double feature here. We have Stephen King's Graveyard Shift and Silver Bullet. I bought this for Silver Bullet because I was doing all, Halloween themed movies for my 31 Days of Horror, but I watched Graveyard Shift as well, and, Graveyard Shift I thought was pretty good. I feel like I didn't pay close enough attention to it. I think I was distracted while I watched it, so it's definitely one I would have to go back to, but I thought it was pretty solid for what I did see. And then Silver Bullet I really, really loved. I like the concept of the boy being in the wheelchair, and then, like, his cool uncle, like, sets up the wheelchair to make it, like, go real fast, like a car and things like that. I think that's just, like, a cool storyline. Gary Busey's awesome in it, and, of course, Corey Haim, so pretty great werewolf film. After that, we have, of course, the classic Gremlins. I just saw this in theaters over Christmas time, and it was a cool experience because, there were a lot of parents with their, like, little kids, like, around, like, 6 to 8 year old ranges and things like that in the theater, and it was just, very, I really enjoyed just seeing the kids' reactions more than anything. Obviously, this is, like, a PG horror film, and it's nothing too over the top or anything like that, so it always warms my heart to see parents take their kids to, like, introducing them to these, like, kid-like scary movies, so that was pretty awesome. Then we have this old copy of the Grudge, very beat up. I don't know if I probably did this because I was stupid. I took like all the plastic off around it. Don't know why, don't ask me, but yeah, this is a movie that, you know, came out in like the early 2000s. When I was growing up, these Grudge movies, the Ring movies, and things like that were pretty popular, and I actually really enjoyed this growing up. I remember rewatching it though, like in my teens, and not liking it quite as much. It really didn't hold up too well. I think like some of the effects are kind of silly, like with the ghosts and stuff like that. And sorry, my cat's destroying the place. Let me throw this over here. But yeah, anyway, yeah, this is another one that I would definitely have to rewatch to see how I feel about it now, because I don't know if it holds up quite as well, but I really liked it a lot when I was younger. After that, we have The Grudge Part 2. I get this one and Part 3 mixed up in my head, like the storylines and things like that. I think I always liked this one a little bit better than Part 1, though. I think I found it easier to follow and things like that, but once again, have to rewatch it. I have not revisited the Grudge franchise, or trilogy rather, in quite a long time, so don't really remember it, but once again, I remember enjoying it growing up. And then, of course, we have The Grudge 3, which I actually did see in theaters. I know that much. I think I actually did not like this one all that much back in the day. Once again, can't remember the story too well, but I do remember coming home from the theater and having my power go out that night, and I was really freaked out after just seeing this movie, so I will give it that. It did give me the creeps because of that experience. Next up, we have Halloween Part 2, the original, you know, perfect sequel to a perfect movie. What else can you really say? This is one of my favorites in the Halloween franchise, and I think if you would have just had like Part 1 and 2 and left it at that, it would have been really perfect. Then we've got Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. I did not grow up watching this one because when I was younger, like, you know, my mom told me I probably wouldn't like it because it didn't have anything to do with Michael Myers or any of that storyline, and so I watched it later on in life, and I gotta say, like, it's okay. I do like the beginning parts and like the middle, like as it goes on, really, I just kind of fall out of it. I get kind of bored with it, but it's definitely one that I would have to give a couple more chances to, because I know it's one that a lot of people say it grows on them, but for me so far that really hasn't happened, except for like, you know, like I said, I do like the beginning portions. It feels a lot like a John Carpenter like style movie. It's got a great Halloween atmosphere. It feels like the first two, really, with the opening sequence and scenes and things like that. But yeah, definitely have to rewatch it. After that, we have Halloween 4 and 5 in this double pack. I've had this one forever too. I used to love Halloween 4 and 5 because they were on TV the most when I was younger. Like around Halloween, they would marathon these ones, it seems like, on over and over again. And so I've definitely watched them probably the most out of all of them. And I still really enjoy Part 4. I think it's got a great Halloween atmosphere to it. It's got a great like opening sequence. It just feels like fall, autumn time, and I love that about it. But with Part 5, I could definitely see why people don't like that one. You know, I've heard like reviews a lot recently about how it's actually not that good at all, and after hearing that, I rewatched it, and I do have to agree, it's definitely kind of a mess, but I still like it just for like nostalgia purposes. After that, we have Rob Zombie's Halloween. Saw this one in theaters back in 2007 when it came out, and at that time I was 10 years old, and it was way too like brutal and over the top for me. I wasn't used to movies like that, and I really did not enjoy it too much for that purpose. And I remember my mom was upset that she brought me, and it was just like, you know, kind of sucky situation, because I just didn't think it was going to be like that, since, you know, I thought it was going to be more true to the original movie, which you don't really see any gore or anything like that at all, and this is total opposite. But upon rewatch later in life, I actually really enjoy this movie. I think it's very well done. Rob Zombie just does what he wants with it, and I respect that. The only thing is, like, the ending part, I always find that I get kind of taken out of. I feel like it goes on for too long with like Laurie and Michael in the house and things like that. I just get kind of bored. Next we have Happy Birthday to Me. I know I've only seen this one time in my life, and it was when I was very young. This is the same copy that I had when I was young, but I just never went back and rewatched it because I don't think I liked it all that much, honestly, back then, and I would be very curious to rewatch it now. I haven't because it's actually a pretty long movie. It's like 111 minutes, and, you know, I just with that memory of not liking it that much, it just kind of turns me away from going back to this one. But I probably will rewatch this, probably this year, because it's one I have been meaning to see what my true opinions are on it. After that, we have Hatchet, the first Hatchet movie. Love this movie, love this franchise. I just love the horror comedy elements to it. You know, it's not supposed to be a serious movie or anything like that. It's just a fun horror movie, and it's also very gory and bloody and just disgusting, and I think it does it right. I just feel like it works very well in all aspects. Some people might find it to be over the top and cheesy, but I love these movies. Then after that, we have Hatchet 3. I have part 2 on Blu-ray, but yeah, Hatchet 3, probably the most solid one out of the original 3. I have trouble ranking these movies because they all feel like one movie, which, you know, they're supposed to, and for me it's just hard to say which one's my favorite, which one's my least favorite. I feel like they're all kind of on equal levels, but I would say just the quality and production of this one is probably a little stronger than the first two. So, you know, I'll give that. I don't know if it's my personal favorite, but, you know, I go back and forth on all of them. Then we have The Haunting, you know, obviously the original Haunting in this snapper case here. I made the mistake of, well, you know, it just kind of happened this way. I bought the Haunting remake on VHS just because I went through a phase where I would buy every single horror VHS I would see at the Goodwill, whether it was something I actually wanted, whether it was something old or new or whatever. Once again, sorry, my cat is destroying everything around me that I love. But anyway, so I kind of watched the remake first, and of course the remake is not that great. It's got just a bizarre cast in it, and then I ended up picking this up probably a month or two later and watched it, and you know, that was kind of a mistake because I should have definitely watched this a little after I watched the remake or before I watched the remake, because I just wasn't really in the mood for it because they have very similar aspects to them, and it was almost like watching the same movie but a better version. So definitely one I would have to revisit later on. Then we have Hellions. Bought this one back in October for my 31 Days of Horror, and I gave a review on it. I didn't really care for this one. It had nice visuals, very purpley tones and just a very depressing vibe to it, and I did like it for that, but other than that I didn't really care for the story too much. I just found it to be a little bit boring, couldn't really get into it. It's got a, you know, underlying message about abortion and things like that or something like that in it, and I just didn't care for it. It really wasn't for me, wasn't what I was expecting, but like I said, the visuals were pretty solid. After that, we have Hellraiser, the first Hellraiser movie. You know, what can I say? It's a classic film. It's very gross at times, got great effects in it that still hold up. I think the performances are great in it. The thing that I did, though, was watch this one and then all the other sequels right after it, within the same month span, and that is definitely a mistake because after watching all those sequels, I forgot how good this movie was, and JP actually got me it on VHS, so I'll definitely be revisiting this one this year. But you know, you gotta kind of forget about all the sequels and just look at the original Hellraiser, and it is a very solid horror movie. Then we have Hellbound Hellraiser 2. Hate that title, by the way. Hate when there's a word before the something part 2. I just don't get the point. But anyway, I I really enjoyed this one too. Some people say they like part 1, or they like this one better than part 1. I disagree. I like part 1 better than this one because I feel like this one goes a little too over the top towards the ending, but at the same time, this is a pretty solid sequel, and, you know, again, it is a pretty good movie in the Hellraiser franchise. And then finally, for this part, guys, we have the Hellraiser collection, which has part 3, part 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 in it. So, whoop-de-doo. Bought this at Walmart just because I wanted to familiarize myself with this franchise, and I really regret it because this franchise sucks. You know, part 3 is not too bad. That's probably like the last good one. Part 4 still sticks with the original storyline, at least. You could tell it's still a Hellraiser movie, but at the same time, I didn't care for it all too much. It was just, I didn't really like the setting and things like that. And then the rest of them, I can't even tell you what they're about or which one's which because I just basically hated all of them. I find, like, some of them I found to be just very boring to where I was literally almost falling asleep while watching them, and other ones are just bad, and, you know, I saw Revelations too, and it's all just a mess. I wish they would just, like, remake or reboot the franchise instead of making all these sequels, but, you know, what can you do? But, yeah, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Sorry that my cat kept distracting me and things like that, but what else is new? I will see you guys in part 5. Like I said, I'll hopefully buy a camera this year so that videos like this could be a little more interesting to watch visually and things like that. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me for my collection part 4, and I'll see you for part 5.